Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is Joey Plays and Build, and today we're gonna play and build an Apatosaurus walk-in exhibit. Now first and foremost, if you see right there, you may notice that the Lagoon platform was sticking out a little bit outside from the lagoon. Well, I will say this, there is a glitch out there, and if you may not know that this glitch, I will put in the tutorial how to do this glitch at the end of the video. I'm gonna leave a timestamp in the description so you guys would know how to do this glitch. This is the first time for me, so I'm gonna check it out as well if the Nothosaurus is going to lay on those platforms over there. So yeah, we're gonna put that in the video. And second of all, I did took a break, and a needed break for playing Jurassic World Evolution 2. I felt like that is recommended. We all have that burnout once in a while, so yeah, a break is much needed. So yeah, I am back. It's been a while. I haven't posted since the marine species pack, so I'm all recharged and ready to go, and let's get on with this build. So let's talk about the habitat. What are we doing here today? Well, the theme here is a Apatosaurus walk-in exhibit. Somebody did comment on my videos that they made a wonderful sauropod walk-in, so you know what, I want to join that ride too. And since this is Apatosaurus, I feel like this is a dinosaur that I hardly have in my channel. I think I've only built like twice habitats in this channel, and plus the Apatosaurus is a beautiful dinosaur anyway, so why not. We're also gonna have Nothosaurus in here as well. This is basically just to test out this glitch, and I already explained it on the intro, and once at the end of the video we could discuss how the glitch is going to work, so please stay tuned for that. Now again, it's a walk-in exhibit, so yeah, where guests can walk into this habitat with giant sauropods. Hopefully things will be a-okay, but we are gonna have an emergency bunker just in case if something goes awry. We're also gonna have some hotels and a viewing log gallery. Now I did add the Jurassic Park Innovation Center, but I took it out because I didn't feel like it fits there, so that one's gone. But if you want to add an innovation center, by all means go ahead. But yeah, this is the base of the habitat, so I'll leave you guys with that, with some nice techno music, and I'll get to you once we have more info. And there you have it. We have our base of the habitat, so we know what we're gonna work around with it. So the next step, let's go ahead and build ourselves the entrance area. So one thing, and I said it a couple of times, I'm not a good path worker. I am not. If you want any advice for that, go ahead and watch other Jurassic World videos out there. They're much more helpful. But I would like to say this because I got this advice from Rob Earth, a very swell guy. If you want to follow him on Instagram, go ahead and message him some of Jurassic World Evolution stuff. He does provide some tips and tricks to how you build your park beautifully. That's where I got my inspiration. So yeah, Rob Earth, thank you so much. But one advice that I always have stick in my mind too, and it's very simple, and I quote, follow the flow of the path. Essentially what it means is just start from whatever path that you are building and progress from there. It doesn't matter what shape or size, doesn't matter what color of the path. I do prefer or recommend adding more than one color of the path. As you can see here, I'm using the luxury path, but also the pink luxury path, just in case it gets a little bit of a more oomph to it. But you may not see here in the footage that I'm showcasing, and you might think like, what am I doing? What am I doing? Is this you know, but I think that's the whole fun about this game, is that you could create whatever type of ways that you could build, and this is one example for it. It may not look pleasing to you, but trust me, somebody out there might think of this and be very inspired. So follow the flow of the path, see, and then progress and work a way around it. The best advice I could give you to make wonderful path work is using as much decorations as you possibly can. The fountains is always a good indication. You could also add some of the foliage here as well. Planters are always good. Jurassic World has a lot of good items that you could use as your advantage, and this is an example for it. It may not look pleasing in the eyes for some of you, but again, follow the flow of the path and then work your way around it. Use as much decorations as you can. If you think that you want to add a decoration there, then by all means. But at the end of the day, whatever that works for you, it's gonna look very pleasing. And I think that is all matters, is what makes you happy. Now, what I didn't show you is at the far right, I did add a hotel right there. So it looks good at the end. But again, the whole point is just to go with the flow, see what works for you, and then just build around it, take some risk. And speaking of taking some risk, here you can see that I'm building a path. I noticed that there is a shark feeder right in front of the walk-in habitat. So in my mind, I'm thinking, you know what, this is going to be a long hiking trail. I feel like guests are going to get tired, they want to rest their feet, maybe they get hungry down the line. Why not we have a restaurant right in the middle of the walk-in? Why not? Let's go crazy. Let's go crazy today. So right then and there, we have ourselves a restaurant, an indoor restaurant right in front of, there you go, you see that Dunkeliosis. Imagine just eating or having a lunch or just resting, and then you see a giant fish eating essentially a great white shark, one of the biggest sharks in the world today. So yeah, I wouldn't mind, but the whole point is to take some risk. Go ahead and be creative, go crazy. And yeah, let's just continue with the speed build. So the biggest advice I'm going to give to you guys is changing your terrain forming. I'm not going to stress this enough. I know I mentioned this so many times. I'm beating this down the bush. But yeah, terrain forming will make your habitats very different and unique. And it will just make having fun with the game as all around. Just experience with some of the terrain forming and see from there. the habitat build is going smoothly so far. We got ourselves a hiking trail, we got ourselves a restaurant, we got a lagoon, we got some water, some textures, and I think the next step is rocks and foliage. Okay, so this part I'm gonna slow it down just a little bit because I do got a lot of questions of my habitat builds. How do you make your habitat build so natural and all of that stuff? And as much as I want to take the credit all goes to Rob Earth. He's the one that actually told me so many things about foliage work, rock work, and again, I do suggest you guys to follow him on Instagram, message him if you need some advice and suggestions. And I feel like he is a better teacher of this type of thing than I am. So yeah, do please follow him and ask him as much questions as you can. So yeah, thank you Rob Earth for all the help. Now let's focus on this part, and I want a little creek with some rocks and foliage. The rocks that I'm using the most is the tropical rock number 4 because it has this flat spot right in once you start to rotate. So I'm gonna use as much then. Now here's something that I should have been doing is rotating as much and using different types of rocks. Well, I'm using different types of rocks right now, but rotate your rocks as much as you can. Now the hitbox of the rocks is not as bad as some of the items or the foliage in here, so you could squeeze as much space as you can by rotating your rocks. So I just try to rotate and find the perfect spot where you want your rocks to be. The next step is the fun part, is to add foliage. One of my favorite is this furious ground covers. Now I'm not using too much. I'm using the small radius of the brush and just tap the button, or if you're using a mouse, tap the mouse. Don't use too much because you're gonna lose your texture, your rock texture, and you don't want that. Once you get what you wanted, the fun part begins, and that is the decorative trees. I always advise not to use the paint environment foliage just because it will ruin your habitat, and there's some random places where the foliage is gonna be. I suggest using the decorative trees. There's so many options for it, and you could place as much foliage as you want. For me, I'm using the taiga. Usually the taiga bushy trees number 3 and number 2. I really love the large, is it the large or the medium, that huge bush, and hopefully I could show you the example right here. But use as many foliage as you can. Here I'm using the desert foliage, the small tree number 1. This is a desert, so be creative of your foliage build. Experiment some of them, see what works, see what don't work. Just go ahead and play with the game a little bit. There's a lot of different types of foliage in this game, so just take some risks, go crazy for it. Yeah, the foliage I'm using the most is the taiga one, just because they're beautiful. I feel like they fit the environment here more than the alpine, but I use a little bit of an alpine here and there. So there is one of the examples of how I built my foliage works. Here it is, the medium tree number 3, possibly the best in the game. So there's another comment that I want to address, and I felt like I did it sounds like I was misleading you guys, which is not what I intended. Now in the past I did say that I was not a fan of the invisible fence. It does sound like I was encouraging you guys not to use the invisible fence. No, that's not what I was trying to say, and I do apologize if that's how it came out to be. But no, you could use the invisible fence you want, and right here I'm using the invisible fence. So there's some cases where I don't want to use the invisible fence, but here I was using the invisible fence. So I do apologize if that's how it came out to be, and I don't want to mislead any one of you guys. You could use as much items you want. If you want to use the invisible fence, by all means use the invisible fence. Another question I got is like how to make a natural habitat while using the invisible fence. And I'll be honest with you, I was very confused with that question, but maybe you're thinking, Well, I'm assuming how to hide the invisible fence to make it natural. So let me just answer that question. But if that's not how what you guys want to answer, please do comment down below. But yeah, that was a very confusing question. But let's say if you want to hide the invisible fence, so it looks like the invisible fence isn't in the habitat. My suggestion is to use some of the biggest and mightiest rocks that you could find. Try to find some space that could cover some of the gaps and use some of the biggest foliage. Of course, the medium trees number 3 on the taiga category is by far the most helpful. It's bigger, it's wider, and also some of the taiga trees that has like I think the medium trees number 2, it's very wide and is very fat, so you could use that as well just to cover up some of the gaps. Now, of course, this is where you could use the environmental paint foliage because it does cover a lot of ground. So there's so many ways that you could hide the invisible fence, and this is one example right here. But again, I do apologize if I mislead any of you guys. No, you could use whatever items you want. It is your world, your build. Last thing to say, I do appreciate all the love I'm getting. I have grown very fast in the last couple of days, and I do really appreciate that. My videos are getting out there and I'm getting a lot of positive reviews from it, and I can't thank you guys so much. However, I'm gonna end the video right here and I will show you the Nothosaurus glitch at the end of the video. Actually, I right around about now, but until then, thank you guys for so much. Like the video if you like it, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next build. Okay, so let's do this glitch again. Thank you Legion Yapper 600 for this. So let's go ahead and I'll show you how it's done. First, you need a lagoon, so let's grab our lagoon really quick. Then what you need to do is to add water around it. So I'm going to use the biggest brush, and we're just going to surround the lagoon with water, as much water as you can. So that should be good enough. Then you go to your platform and let's see if this is going to work. And as you can see right there, I've seen it and I know you guys seen it too. Right there, boom, you could add a platform, a rock platform here. You can make it as close as possible too. You just need to keep rotating until you find the blue. For what I do, I keep rotating and press A. Just rapidly press A just to find your spot. So you could add as much as you can. There you go. Just keep pressing A while you're rotating at the same time. You will find a space. Now you could add some outside. Let's see. No, so it has to be right in the indication of the lagoon. So it won't let me right now, but I'm pretty sure that you could add outside of the lagoon. Anyways, here's another trick that you could use. Let's try to delete the water. So if you take out the water, there you go. You can still have a rock, which makes some lovely exhibits with your Nothosaurus if they try to steam up there. But you could make a habitat with an Archelon or Nothosaurus outside of the lagoon. It is very fascinating, and I do thank Legion Yapper for this discovery. And let's go to the habitat. So right now, I've been playing for a good 30 minutes, but you know what? I think I made a mistake. As you can see, there is no way for the Notosaurus to get up into the log, not the log, the rock. So there is no way. See, you have to have a little bit of gap. I feel a little bit of gap, so that way they could move into the rock. However, I'm not gonna change it because as you look at this is really nice. I think you can make some wonderful ponds or with these type of rocks, but just seeing the Apatosaurus just roaming with this lovely work pawn work, I think I'm just gonna leave it here. But maybe in the future we could build a legit habitat with these open rocks. I think a good example is this right here. This is a good example that you need, so the Nothosaurus can get up to the rock and hopefully it'll glitch out and can move over to the other side. So anyways, that is the glitch. Hopefully it does really help out. Maybe that inspires you to build your own. This is the walk-in exhibit. I'm gonna do a full tour with this, so please stay tuned. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next build. Thank you guys for watching.